Greetings and welcome to another edition of Trade Theory with Kevin Jefferson here on May 27, 2025. Just want to go over a couple things on all of the assets that I observe on a weekly basis for you. So we're going to start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has obviously had an extremely nice move higher and is still trading above one of my EMA indicators. But I'm looking at a potential downside pullback of 105 to 1113 on the daily chart coming in the near term. And then at that point, we'll assess, and there may be some buy opportunities, and I'll come back and address that when that time comes. All right. So moving on to WTI crude, what we've got here is the market has moved up into the area that I mentioned, and it has not established new highs. And so I have a downside target for WTI crude of 57.405, so $57.41, which is down here. Looking for crude to hit that number before we make another assessment. And if it does hit that number, we may, take a pullback and then find a better entry at a higher price to short, i.e., sell crude oil. But first things first, let's get to that downside target. Okay, moving on to gold. Gold here has continued to move higher and it started to slow down. And so I've got a potential daily pullback on gold of 3,107. So that's right here, looking for gold to potentially pull back to 3,107 and then may give us another bounce higher, and we'll have to wait there. But looking for that as my initial downside target before I make another assessment. And then we're going to go to US 30. US 30 has an area of interest here of 42,79507. So if price closes above there sometime this week, in the next couple of days or so, it should be, if it does happen, then we'll look at what price does around that area, because it'll probably stall out for a second and look, maybe give us a potential pullback to buy into that move if it sustains that and closes above there. Or if it fails to reach that high, then we start to look for downside targets, which the first one would be this downside target. I've got it here, but this one's the number is 41,532. Is that right? Yeah, 41,532 is one downside target, and then the next one would be 4449, and then the third one would be down here at 38. So let me say that again, because I messed that up. So the first target is about the 40,395, 4442 area, and then we're looking at another downside target here, potentially in the 39,677 area. Then another target down here at about the 38,807 area. So if it does fail to break above this area and close above here in the next day or two, I'm expecting downside movement on the US 30, or the Dow Jones as people call it. All right, now moving on to the NASDAQ. We've got a similar situation here with the NASDAQ. Obviously, price, if it did not close above this previous high here about a week ago. So if it does do that tomorrow, then we may be looking for potential pullbacks to buy into this. But if it fails to make that over the next couple of days, then we're looking for a downside target, number one of about 20,794, the second one of about 20,128, and then the third target of roughly 19,748.70. So really important and crucial price observations happening over the next couple of days to see if price is going to sustain the moves or it's going to actually turn around on us. And then the last one is the S&P 500. What we've got here is the same situation, to where price doesn't close above this previous high up here, the 59.57 area. Then we're looking for a downside move, and the first target being 57.8042, the second target being 56.7495, and the third one being 55.9058, somewhere thereabouts. But looking for downward movement, and then we'll assess to see if that's a reset for a continuation higher or whatnot on the S&P 500. So that's what we've got here, and we want to just be mindful that a lot of movements in the market aren't full-time moves, and so we want to be mindful of what could happen and always keep our guard up. All right, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy trading.